What is currently happening, programs? Welcome to the Grid VR, where I'll be bringing you this week's news in virtual reality. It's Sunday the 24th of November 2019, and all I can say this week is, holy triple Alyx G-Man. We've got Half-Life Alyx VR coming in hot, Boneworks physics accurately propped, Oculus Link connecting the dots, Stormland, Asgard's Wrath, Respawn's Medal of Honor War, and much more. Today I'm going to cover off the main events to keep you in the loop. So stay locked, enjoy, and welcome to the Grid VR. Valve bucked the trend and buckled hearts this week with its first Half-Life title in over a decade, Half-Life Alyx, a full AAA flagship standalone built for the ground up for VR single-player VR game. Set between the events of Half-Life and Half-Life 2, which places this after the Black Mesa incident, you play as Alyx Vance, as her and her father Eli seek to take down the Combine, a pack of multi-dimensional antagonistic transhuman discount stormtroopers waving electrically charged dildos to intimidate haplessly discombobulated citizens of City 17 as they enslave the haplessly discombobulated citizens of City 17. This is Half-Life VR. Step into City 17 through full room scale, sitting or standing setups, use teleport, dash or smooth locomotion, finger or trigger based tracking, and play on any Steam VR compatible headset including HTC's Vive, Oculus Rift, Quest with the Link cable, WMR headsets, and of course Valve's Index. And if you own or buy a Valve Index, or even just the Index controllers, HLA will appear in your library automatically for free. And you'll receive a bunch of extras including the ability to explore environments from Half-Life Alyx in your Steam VR home space, alternate gun skins to embellish Alyx's arsenal, and special Half-Life Alyx themed content for Counter-Strike Global Offensive. The game will run on the Source 2 engine and will support user mods via the Steam Workshop thanks to Valve's Hammer authoring tool, which has been updated with all of the game's virtual reality gameplay tools and components, so expect community built environments and all sorts of Gary's mod. And Reese Darby.
Gonna need a gun! Don't worry, it's unloaded. It's unloaded now!
A team of around 60 people working on this game, which is a comparatively small team, and the story is penned by some of the team from Campo Santo, who Valve acquired in 2017 and who were behind Firewatch and In the Valley of Gods. Also, veteran Half-Life writers Jay Pinkerton and Eric Walport, who wrote the original Half-Life and Portal games, were involved. There will be deep environmental interactions, puzzle solving, world exploration, visceral combat, around 15 hours of campaign gameplay content being developed around virtual reality concepts first and foremost. Expect gravity gloves, head crabs, characters and locales you know and love in a face full of new nostalgia. This looks good. Valve Half-Life good. The question has been raised though, is this a full-length entry in the Half-Life series or a full-length entry in the ass of PC gamers? Here's a clip outlining what I mean.
The wing with his feet. His head movement has been brilliant in the last couple of fights.
This is fantastic defense in this round.
So why not Half-Life 3? Why this? Well, this all started 3 years ago as a 15-minute, almost comically low-budget VR experimentation using Half-Life assets and Counter-Strike gloves that organically progressed into HLA. And through that progression, the people developing and testing at Valve found that the Half-Life IP not only showed the most potential in VR, but also saw heavy engagement in the Bellevue office, even back then in its state of basic assets and textures. They They also realized that so much opportunity would be lost translating this title to the now traditional keyboard and mouse input methods. Essentially, Valve's passion for the Half-Life IP was reborn, and after many other attempts to push the Source 2 engine that never eventuated, which tells us Valve have not been working on standalone games, this is the end result. And while I agree that if the world was fair and Valve wasn't Valve, we'd see a PC Half-Life 3 game first, it is promising to note that the question was asked during development. Is this gonna be Half-Life 3? Which doesn't confirm, but does suggest Half-Life 3 is not completely dead, so that's a silver lining for gamers alike. In terms of minimum system requirements, you'll need a lowly GTX 1060 or RX 580 GPU, a Core i5 7500 or Ryzen 5 1600 CPU, but a rather substantial 12 gig of RAM. Half-Life Alyx will cost $60 US on the Steam store, though pre-ordering will get you a 10% discount, and you can stay locked here for updates as we hurtle towards the March 2020 release date. In the meantime, I've put links in the description below that include Twitter posts, trailers, the official website, compatibility list, and enough reading to get your head back in the game.
Alex? I'm here. So what's the plan?
Boneworks, the first-person Half-Life-esque experimental physics-based VR adventure from Stress Level Zero, the team behind Duck Season and Hover Junkers, now has a release date for PC VR headset owners of December 10th this year, priced at $30, and another title set in the same universe coming to Oculus Quest in 2020. It features advanced combat courtesy of cutting-edge built for VR weapon mechanics and collision systems, and puzzle solving through hyper-realistic physics-based environmental interaction. There's tons of weapons, a mysterious narrative through Monogon Industries' AI operating system, MythOS, and a full inverse kinematics body system that'll bring presents before Santa slips down your chimney with a ho-ho-ho. Links are in the description if you want to get a Portal-like headcrab face full of accurately weighted pixel physics. Asgard's Wrath is out now and has shaped up to be a 30-plus hour RPG game from Oculus and Sansaru Games for the Oculus Rift headset. It's a whopping 120 plus gig in size, and I did cover the details in this episode of the Grid VR earlier in the year, but the reviews are now in and they are resoundingly exceptional. This is the full-size AAA RPG VR game we've been waiting for. It's built from the ground up for VR, has immersion that's off the charts, a superb mix of realistically weighted and game-like combat physics, an epic storyline, and beautiful visuals all brought together through Norse mythology and development acumen. Be a new god tasked by Loki, the god of mischief, to collect virtuous stones by assisting mortal heroes in their quests as you move between their bodies and your god form. Convert animals into assistive human minions, which each bring to the table unique skill sets that aid you on your journey. Play mini games, collect loot, and power up your virtual self represented in its entirety by a full body inverse kinematic system. Square off against the strongest that Norse mythology has to offer across 6 different single player sagas on an Oculus Rift or a Vive using Revive. Price is $40 and links are in the description below. Insomniac Games, the team behind Ratchet & Clank and The Unspoken, have released Stormland, an open-world VR action-adventure title. Insomniac have taken an interesting approach here though. For starters, there is a 4-hour campaign where you journey through an ever-changing cloudscape, augmenting yourself to become a heroic fighter, save your friends, and reclaim your world by traversing ascending platforms towards the terminus. Beyond that, you'll enter a roguelike gameplay mode in a world that resets itself every Tuesday, at which time new environments will generate and your upgrades will go back to zero. Beneficially, enemies will increase in difficulty, which is one of the downsides of this title, in that initially the AI is just too easy to overcome, therefore removing a lot of the reward you would typically feel from more intensive challenges. Some great mechanics and concepts are on offer though that really do work, like flying through the cloudscape by holding your arms out in front of you, or breaking down found weapons into parts to gain additional items. But the success here on Stormland will depend and on its replayability, so it will be interesting to see if this model will work on such a large-scale VR title in terms of financial returns through player engagement. Respawn Entertainment, the team behind Titanfall, Apex Legends, and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, have revealed their upcoming VR-only Oculus Rift exclusive World War II epic, Medal of Honor Above and Beyond. Subject to the usual outrage from flat gamer Medal of Honor fans, more about that in none of the videos on my channel because I really can't be getting into it again. This game will see you play as an allied agent of the Office of Strategic Services, tasked with laying waste to the Nazi war machine. Get involved with the French resistance across Europe in a full campaign. The game has a respectable twist as the team interviewed veterans of World War II during production to ensure respect and faithfulness to those who served. Medal of Honor Above and Beyond will also have a multiplayer mode available, and it will release in 2020 on the Oculus Rift, and you can stay locked here for updates. In hardware, Oculus Link cable will be out later this year, which will allow Oculus Quest owners to play full, though mildly compressed PC VR titles from their PC Oculus library. Link comes in the form of a $79 5-meter custom USB 3.0 to USB-C cable that passes charge and data to your Quest simultaneously, so your Quest won't go dead while gaming like that. Heads up, the cable that comes with Quest doesn't work, but due to the beta version of the Link software already released, you can pick up a 10-foot or 3-meter Anchor powerline cable, which I'll link in the description below, as well as a list of compatible graphics cards that will work already. And for those of you who want to go balls deeper and read up on how this works specifically, there'll also be a link below to the technical details. The Under Presents is a collaboration project between Tenderclaws, the creators of virtual reality, and Piehole, a New York-based theatre collective that first made an appearance at the Sundance Film Festival earlier this year. Billed as a theatrical and mind-bending adventure, you must unravel the mysteries of the Aikman, a doomed research vessel trapped in Arctic ices. Interact with past versions of yourself and manipulate time with the spin of a clock's hand in this vaudeville legacy eclectically performed through an immersive VR narrative. Vader Immortal, the 3-part episodic Star Wars adventure that actually made it to episode 3, which I covered in this episode of the Grid VR earlier in the year, has concluded on Rift and Quest, and goddamn if you haven't played it, then play it. Even if you don't like Star Wars, VR, or likewise have nothing in common with me at all, Star Wars Vader Immortal is $10 a pop, or free with Oculus Quest until January 31st next year, and is absolutely worth a playthrough, and you can get all the links to the store and the trailers in the description below. Wolves in the Walls is a VR narrative from Fable Studio, based on Neil Gaiman and Dave McKean's children's book of the same name. It's a 3-part download for free right now on the Oculus Store, and I've got to say I'm absolutely blown away by this cute but very dark virtual experience. What's cool is that a couple of years ago we'd be gagging for content like this, and now it's free. Winner of the 2019 Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Innovation in Interactive Media, I can highly recommend this one if VR narrative is your thing. Abode 2 is a VR escape room through a highly detailed and interactive apartment as you attempt to unveil all its secrets and restore power to the city. The reviews are all but positive, and though I haven't had a chance to sit down and play this one yet, from what I've seen and read, if you were a fan of the escape room genre and have a preference towards the neo-noir, then this one is easily recommended. There's smooth and teleport locomotion available, it runs on Rift, Vive, Index and WMR headsets, and is $15 on the Steam store right now, or you can get part 1 and 2 in a discounted bundle deal. And briefly, John Carmack is transitioning to a consulting position with Oculus, which is basically an I'll call you guys from time to time kind of role, to work on artificial general intelligence. So think C3PO or HAL 9000. versus AI, which is more Siri or South Park in cars. This is something the top brains at Microsoft and Elon Musk's OpenAI initiative have partnered up to tackle, so John really does have his work cut out for him, though no doubt a valuable asset to the future of AGI. Good luck and thanks for all the virtual input. John has also popped up on the Joe Rogan show in episode 1342 and delivers a much requested and excellent 2.5-hour insight into his past and future states alike, covering off both flat and VR gamings. This is absolutely worth a watch from one of the industry's leading legends. And Facebook's Deep Fovea rendering is a new AI-powered foveated rendering system that claims more than 14 times compression on RGB video with no significant degradation in user-perceived quality, delivering real-time, low-latency video to systems that utilize eye tracking, meaning much better visuals at the cost of much less processing power, even versus traditional foveated rendering. I covered foveated rendering in more detail in this episode of the Grid VR earlier this year, and if you want to find out more about that one or any of the other topics I've covered today, as always, all the links are in the description. And finally, I want to go out meta with a celebratory montage of the Grid VR and the mini episodes of 2019. Wait, did this fuck off? And that's this week on the Grid VR. You can help support this channel by grabbing exclusive rewards on Patreon, and if you like this video, then crush that like button, have your say in the comments below, and hit the XO logo to subscribe if you wanna. I'll see you in the next one. Peace!